As I grew up, my older brother Zach regularly had a ragtag variety of friends hang out at the house. Being a devious younger sister, I took upon myself to harass them. While spying on them over the years, I wondered why my kind and generous brother regularly took time away from his close friends to hang out with these kids his age, many of whom seemed like misfits. There were a few who turned out to be drug addicts, one in prison, several with obvious or subtle special needs, kids from other countries, some who marched to their own drum, and several whom I know were likely to be bullied in school. During those years of my early youth, I secretly questioned why he hung out with these deeply awkward kids. Zach had several cool friends whom he was close to. So why, I wondered, did he bother hanging out with these people I thought of at the time as losers? They would just show up at our house, and Zach would invite them in for a drink or a snack or a video game. Or sometimes they would just sit up in the back deck and skateboard down the street. I remember feeling uneasy and thinking, wasn't this uncomfortable for Zach? I finally asked him why one night when he was shoving cereal in his mouth. And he responded, yeah, sometimes it's awkward. But well, isn't everyone at some point? And if I'm not a friend to them, then who will be? He didn't see it as a big deal or heroic, but just that here and there, he noticed overlooked people, hungry to be acknowledged, and he cared. Here's my brother, a junior in high school at the time, doing something small but significant, with great love, and while no one was watching. But I was watching, it turns out, and it planted a seed. Every year on the first morning of the school year, my whole family stands outside of our house before setting off to our different paths. And my dad and mom say a prayer in this kind of group hug time. It sounds sappy, and actually it is, but we value it. Each year, my dad tells us to look for the people on the margins. He reminds us that we can be the light or salt in our school and make profound differences. He challenges us to look for those opportunities, that maybe even that's what we're here for in one sense. He has said he only remembers too well that there are a ton of awkward people in high school, including each one of us at various times. So it's crucial to be gentle and kind to people. Those talks were little seeds planted in me as well. Since then, I've thought repeatedly of how ironic it is that when most people think of Christianity, they think of all of its sweetness and being nice, which sounds safe and almost boring. But as I tried Christianity out, I would highlight more how it can lead you to feeling awkward, almost intentionally awkward. Because you're asked to put yourself out there, to put yourself in deeply awkward situations time and time again. But this is not something people usually associate when they talk about being a Christian. I've tried to lean into this as I've gotten older, and I've decided, despite the discomfort it causes, it really is an okay place to stand. In fact, it can be satisfying on a much deeper level, despite that not fitting into the drumbeat of a superficial culture. Most people here have survived high school and turned out okay. Bill Ingold and Wayne Jones might be an exception. But high school is, as Rydell says, a hot mess. It's a time when everything is artificially focused on status and appearances and skill sets that are regularly acknowledged by team, club, or group admissions, grade point averages, varsity letters, and later with college acceptances and scholarships. There are also much more subtle status hierarchies, only obvious to those in a given school. Many students feel acutely aware of who they feel permission to eat lunch with or talk to, or feel they're being gossiped if they venture out of those normal peer groups. And all of that feeling of being scrutinized intensified now due to social media. I see kids who feel slotted into pecking orders, and they joke about it. Some feel held to ridiculous standards they feel pressured to live up to. It sounds cliche and stupid, but that is my world, and it's hard to ignore those pressures. Living as a genuine Christian in high school, refusing to play by those rules, stupid as they are, can be confusing and tough. Now imagine Queen Esther. When Lynn selected Esther as our theme for Youth Sunday, I wrestled with it a bit. I wasn't sure I found any relevance there. Esther is a young Jewish woman picked for her beauty to be a queen to someone who is poised to slaughter the Jews. She knows that speaking out against the king, her new husband, carries great risk. In fact, could well end up in her dad. But if she doesn't do it, who will? I hear echoes of my brother as he shoveled his cereal. Last year was my hardest year of high school. Not academically, though I had plenty of challenges there. Rather, it was hard socially. I had good friends, always being raised in Greensboro. I've had a fortunate flow of relationships. My squad at school, soccer teammates, church friends, work friends, magical people, and longtime childhood confidants. I've had the weird temptation of being far too comfortable, of just taking care of me. Looking back on my earlier years of high school, I felt pulled by the siren song of nesting in a comfortable bubble of just that, ignoring the larger world and avoiding any potential awkward people, needy people, overlooked folk, people on the margins, or who had fallen in between the cracks. I wanted to burrow down where it was safe and warm and turn my back on any higher calling, to withdraw into selfishness. Seeing people in a prescribed pecking order or calibrated by popularity was the matrix I was struggling against. And I fell into seeing people through that ridiculous grid of times. Yet the weirdest experience cut against the grain of those stupid pressures and slowly changed me, where I sprung up in unlikely places. Some of my best memories from high school are the moments where I was pushed into awkward situations and something beautiful came out of it. For example, my math class last year. The math part was not my best memory. MIT must have lost my application in the mail. But the people in that class changed my outlook on high school and the dumb social rules surrounding it. It was filled with an odd assortment of individuals that I was skeptical of when I first sat in my seat. I slid into my seat on the first day of school and heard the roll, not one person knew on the list. I had no ally to roll my eyes with or help with homework. And some of my classmates seemed really sketchy. They were, by high school standards, easily categorized as misfits. There was a black Muslim girl named Maimuna who wore a hijab, but also turned out to have this great giggle and a sly sense of humor. This came in handy because our math teacher was among the worst math teachers I've ever had. She usually just gave us handouts, letting us labor over problems with no support or lectures. It was so anger-producing and discouraging. My parents complained that they couldn't get me moved, so I only survived thanks to a tutor and people like Maimuna, who helped me giggle rather than rage. She was real, down to earth, and everyone related to her honestly. So I enjoyed her presence in that class immensely. Likewise, one Iranian guy, Jason, became an unlikely friend. He was self-conscious and shy. I knew he had been bullied at my school, being called a terrorist, casual catcalls in the hallway. Jason was unsure of himself, a little weird and intensely awkward. He was short and had this unruly mop of hair that overwhelmed his face, and he was lonely too. He sat near me and we talked, and I could tell he was eager for friendship. As we talked over math, I was charmed by how authentic he helplessly was. He would say negative things about himself, as though it were a rueful fact he couldn't deny, and he seemed resigned to his life on the margins. But he had this incredibly sweet smile, mirroring what I found to be a lovely spirit. He was gentle and loving to the core. We became close friends. He often said how much he appreciated our friendship, or something about me, without any designs or manipulative intent. After a while, I wondered, how did someone with such a beautiful heart have no friends because of something as shallow as looks or his ethnicity? Sure, he was awkward, but everyone is awkward in some way during high school. Later, walking down the halls with one of my friends, we passed Jason and I said, "Hello, my math brother." As an afterthought, I said to my friend, "Love that kid, Jason. He's such a sweetheart." She looked at me with her eyes arched and asked stiffly, "How do you know him?" The way she leaned into the word him let me know that it was incomprehensible and not something she approved of. Her words hit me like a slap. The unfairness of the social dynamics of high school weighed more heavily on me, and I resolved to combat these ridiculous dynamics, to be an agent of change, to be one tiny transforming energy in the opposite direction. After all, in that crazy math class, there were multiple days when I came in a bad mood. I know, hard to imagine. And Jason's spirit and his honest remarks communicated such warmth to me, causing me to leave class with my load lightened and my spirit lifted. And it was because of him, or Maimuna, or others in this ragtag class of oddballs. I know my parents won't believe it because I complain so often and loudly about this class, but it now stands as one of my favorite memories in high school. In direct proportion to our frustrating teacher, we found an unlikely but deep community. And being a junior, I was questioning with more resolve the assumptions of how success is measured in high school. Another learning experience. Mid-soccer season last year, we had a new player join our team from Mexico, whom I'll just call Erin. Erin and I were not friends from the beginning. Actually, I just didn't like her. She was cold and bitter, and when I tried to joke with her, she would shrug me off. One tournament, I didn't even talk to her because I assumed she was rude. But one day, I tried to one more time, and Erin gave way and opened up to my playful side, and we had a breakthrough. She started loosening up and hanging out with me more. I offered to drive her to practice from the boarding school where she lived, and occasionally take her on outings, since she was stuck at boarding school, and soon enough, she was a crucial part of my life. I grew to feel very protective over her, as many of my soccer teammates didn't see her goodness in spite of her being a star player. Turns out Erin was gay. Turns out I was the first straight person she'd ever told. She actually carried on this charade of liking a boy at her boarding school as a desperate form of a cover. She didn't dare tell any of her dorm mates or teachers. I learned she was in a mentally abusive long-distance relationship with a girl back from Mexico and felt tortured by her antics. Plus, she found out her dad was having an affair, which led to her parents' divorce soon after, and she was basically suicidal and felt completely alone. I found all this out when I confronted her about cuts on her legs, which she had for a time hidden extremely well. I had met Erin at a time when she had not been at a lower point in her life. I had written her off, but I thankfully stepped out of my comfort zone one more time, and something amazing happened. It was truly a maybe you are here for such a time as this moment, all because of the risk of hanging out with an awkward person who sent cold prickles to everyone. But things inside both of us had broken open. It was this church that encouraged me to realize it's okay to get uncomfortable. If it weren't for you all, I would have not found the space, the support, the freedom, and the nerve to push myself out of my comfort zone and be open to so many people, many of who are wonderfully weird, who end up shaping me in powerful ways. In fact, I would say this church is full of Esthers that have modeled radical openness that I have the privilege to watch and learn from my whole life. And who have always let me be my own person, to have my own life, and for that I will always be grateful. As a pastor's kid, I was particularly pushed into awkward moments that I found very difficult. It was not unusual for my dad to come up to me after drink and say, "Hey, will you go introduce yourself to that family? They have a daughter your age. They're new and don't know anyone." I found this very uncomfortable. So I did as I was asked and just hoped my discomfort didn't show. But I doubt he understood how awkward that made me feel. Everyone knows my mom's an extrovert, so she's always acted like, "Hey, what's the big deal? It's not rocket science, you're just connecting with people." She claimed I was good at it, but I wasn't. It was something I only slowly grew into. In fact, my parents should have known, because there's a family joke that for my entire second and third year of my life, I only barked. Seriously, there were several preschool teachers who went the whole year as knowing me as a barker. I was painfully, uncomfortably shy. I went through a long phase where I simply wouldn't talk at school. While I grew out of that, I still found casual banter in public to be awkward and difficult. Even so much later, my dad's pushing me to interact with strangers felt terribly weird for me. Now I must admit I'm better at this, so I guess I have church to thank for that. I barked and you barked back. Youth group has been a major factor in my faith as well. Those Sunday night discussions each week do make a difference. And I find myself often reflecting on the talks for the next week. I've appreciated how Lynn doesn't tell us how our faith should be like, but challenges us to question things for ourselves and explore how God might be calling us. Our annual mission trips have been a big impact on my faith also. The last year we went to Laredo, Texas, and this was among the best. Lynn prepped us to remember the trip might not be easy. There was the heat, the poverty of the community, We were going to health, and there was the tough work sites every day. It wasn't a vacation, so I vaguely knew I wasn't going for pleasure. What surprised me was that, alongside challenging situations, there were many moments where joy crept in. At the end of every day, we always talked about where we saw God that day, and it was often with unexpected encounters with other people. It reminded me that when you seek after selfish ends, you ironically don't end up finding happiness. But when you let go of that as your primary aim, something more significant steps in. The joy of doing something important, no matter how small. Esther certainly exemplified that when she tossed aside concerns for self-preservation, when she risked speaking up for her unlucky people. I bet Esther felt a deep satisfaction when she let go and stepped up to the plate. When I realized my friend Erin had risked opening up to me, as she had no one else, and that I was equipped to be her friend, to communicate unconditional love and acceptance when she feared she couldn't find it anywhere, it felt important. My dad has said he loves being a pastor here because he gets to be with people during their holy moments. Well, this time felt like a holy moment. I think I was made for such a time as this. Like God must have put me in this moment because I am uniquely equipped to help her know that she's a beautiful child of God and worthy of love just as she is. Did all her problems melt away just because she shared with me? Not hardly, but she's made significant progress. She's no longer self-harming or flirting with suicide. She's got out of that abusive relationship and is in a much better one now. She's come out to her mom at least, who wasn't ideal in her reaction, but who is slowly on the road to accepting her for who she is, which is remarkable for a culture that doesn't often know what to do with anything other than conventional sexual orientations. And while she still isn't ready to share it with her friends, she's okay with herself, which is a significant step. I'm not suggesting that I am heroic or noble, only that God can use all of our awkward moments to change us and the people we dare touch. To whatever degree, I made a difference, and I can only thank God for that privilege. Those are the kind of things that animate me and give my life meaning now. Making a difference in this hurting world and offering God's love in simple, concrete ways. We all can be Esthers, putting ourselves in awkward situations for some larger, more significant goal. It might not be a game changer on some national level, but it might be a game changer in someone's week or month or life. You never know.